I cannot say many things for certain, but I can say this one thing certainly at this moment and at this time, as I'm making this video, is that we often live in a world that is obsessed with speed, or overvalues speed, or pedestalizes speed, acceleration. And the thing that I've learned from that that's inversely connected to it is that you cannot speed up your life experience. You simply can't. This is why sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you'll learn in time. They can't give it to you right now. They cannot give you the lesson right now, because the lesson isn't something that can just be, it's not something you can just watch a documentary on and say, oh, I get it now. It's something that you have to live through, unfortunately, or fortunately, I won't merit that. But the idea is that when you talk about speeding through something or getting to the end of something, as we're in this alignment over acceleration theme here, I want you to get from this video is that you have to mark the points in your life where they have been marred or marked, or they've been embroiled in an obsession with speed and getting to the end of it. I remember hearing a number saying that, do you know the average amount of years it's taken people to graduate college? And this is back in the 2000s. And I was like, 4.5, maybe it's 3.5. Maybe people are usually going through it quick, because I know a lot of people in high school that got through it so quick, they didn't even need to go to the last semester of high school. And the answer was 5.5. The way that I felt so seen and loved and recognized, the way I felt so seen and heard at that moment was insane, because I was taking my sweet time through college, like big time. And I was not one that was just too enthused about it. And there was a lot of embarrassment, shame, and guilt involved with not being done with it in 4 years. But the thing was, is as soon as I started college, I knew right away. They were like, you're going to take 5 to 6 classes right away. And I was like, I'm going to tell you this, I can barely do 4. Barely. And I think there was like a credit limit. You had to have 12 or 13 credits. And a lot of classes were 3 or 4. And so you had to get at least 4 classes in. And I was like, I can barely do that. Barely. And if you didn't do the full-time, if you weren't a full-time student, you couldn't get full-time funding or subsidized student loans. So I say this whole thing to give to you that we have a society and world built on getting through things quickly, when in reality, you cannot speed up life experience. And the thing I want you to get out of this is healing. You cannot speed up healing. And as we talk about, you wish you were further along, alignment over acceleration, all these things, you cannot in any shape or form speed up healing. Many times as we experience loss, as we experience the end of a relationship, I think it's ambiguous loss is another one, where somebody's still alive or that thing is still there and we're no longer with it, or we're no longer connected to it. The idea is that we know that we'll be okay sometimes. We know that we are probably better off without this situation. We know that one door closes, another door opens. We know all these things. We can tell ourselves all these things, that we're going to be all right. Yet it still feels discomforting. It feels displacing. It feels a lot of different ways that don't feel fully healed. And even though we know that we're going to be okay and that we're going to be delivered into something better or bigger, or something new for our life, a new chapter, it stings. It still sucks. And when we talk about all this stuff, like expediting things, this, that, and the third, I need you for this video to understand that your broken heart will take time. And there is no timeline for healing. You are on your own timeline. This is, you say when you are healed. And I just have a little thing I wrote down. Your healing has its own timeline. Your growth has its own pace. You cannot fast track life experience. Life has its own timeline. Opportunities have their own season. And some of those I heard from somewhere else, but I wanted to put it together for you that opportunities have their own season. Life has its own timeline, and your healing has its own pace. Your healing and its growth and your growth have its own pace. And when you begin to understand that, you can then align yourself with your healing and your growth. And when I first understood this, and I've told you this story before, but I think it's paramount. I think it fits perfectly with this video, what we're talking about. When I was 19, I went to see my father in New Orleans, and I was very upset with him. And I was at a rift with him, and I didn't know what he was going through, and I just felt angry with him, and a lot of it was projection. It was anger with my own life and circumstances, and how I didn't feel like I ended high school on a high note and all these other things, and I didn't feel enough, and I didn't feel valid. And I had taken it out on him, and I told him I never wanted to speak to him again. And then I went to New Orleans with some friends from Mardi Gras, and then I connected with him like nothing had ever happened. And I remember telling him, hey, I'm sorry about sending you that letter saying I never want to speak to you again. And he turned to me and he said, he didn't even really turn to me. I think he was kind of looking off in the distance. And this isn't really airing any out, kind of like business or whatever, but I think this is important because I hear this happen all the time. Without really looking away from what he was looking at, he just kind of he said, you'll learn. Someday you'll learn. And I guess it wasn't as stern. What did he say? He said something along the lines of, you'll get it someday. You'll get it. And it wasn't until, I would say 20 years later that I understood what he was talking. It wasn't until another lifeline later, 19 more years later, yes, because 2020 was when I understood it. I grasped it, touched the hem of it, and that's when I was like, oh, I know what he's talking about. I haven't fully learned the lesson, but I have an idea of what he's speaking on. And that was so beautiful to me. But the point to you is that there was no way you were going to deliver that lesson to me in the way that I got it. I had to receive it in the way that I had to receive it over the next 19 years of my life. Otherwise, I don't know if I would have received it in any other way. A swim coach once told me that natural talent and hard work don't go together well at all. And I said, why? He said, because why would somebody with these given talents want to work hard for them? They're already given to them. But somebody who works hard for these things, they're going to stick with it. They're going to fight for this. Because how can you have the gold and appreciate it? I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do that, but the idea of life and the way that it unravels and unfolds to you, when it's there for you, when life presents opportunities or growth or healing or whatever it may be to you, you can pick it up at that time, and there's the opportunity for appreciation of it. And I couldn't really appreciate what Homeboy was saying until 19 years later. And that's on me, and that's on life, and that's fine. That's beautiful. That's the only way I would have ever wanted it. I regret nothing, and I love it all. Because I had the opportunity to hear my father say that to me and then receive it 19 years later. That is insane to me. That is absolutely wild. Like, to think about that even happening in the way that it did. With my grandmother passing, there was a lesson there. I still haven't gotten this one. But when she passed, I remember I was sitting in my car and outside of the funeral home and just beside myself. But the idea was that I felt like this wash of like lights and like, I want to say relief over me. And it was a sense of, you'll get it someday. I didn't get it then. I still don't fully have it now. And you just cannot rush life experience like that. You can't rush the lesson. It's just not going to go down like that. And I think that we can gather lessons, we can read books, we can learn from other people, we can study history, but until we've experienced it for ourselves or fully have been immersed in the experience of what we're trying to learn or be involved in or grow to or expand to, it can't be rushed, and it happens at its own pace and time. We can accrue skills, and we can accrue knowledge, and we can accrue compassion. We can accrue the practice of self-compassion so we can give it to other people and let that journey unfold for itself. The road only appears to the people that are walking it. You cannot, I'm a firm believer that it doesn't just reveal itself by you standing still. When you start taking action and walking the road, it starts to reveal itself. Life is on its own timing. Yes, you can collapse it. I believe that there are ways of collapsing it. I need to read up more on that. I've heard a lot about it, and I'm sure people can go off in the comments and there pop off. Yeah, but I mean, like, for me, you cannot speed up healing. You cannot speed up self-compassion. It just kind of unravels, and it happens in its own way. And when you accept the pace that it's going at, it ends up feeling like it's going faster. You ever been at a job you don't want to be at, and you're like, oh my gosh, the time can't go fast enough? And when you actually have accepted things and you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is what it is. Things begin to go a little more naturally. Not naturally, I would say, but they seem to just slip by. It's just happening on its own. And with that, like, I think what is it's a country song. Sometimes, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get it wrong. But the singer was talking about this girl that he was in a relationship with in high school. And this is part of the story here for this one. I don't have the 1, 2, or 3 for you. But he spoke about a girlfriend he had in high school, and he said, we prayed that we'd be married. We prayed that we have kids. We prayed that we'd be together forever. And then it didn't work out. He ends up with this other woman, and he and his other woman, who's now his wife, go to a football game. And he's delivering the story. This is the way country music works sometimes. And they're going to a football game, and he sees his ex-girlfriend, his old high school girlfriend, and he says, I think he said the chorus was, sometimes God's biggest blessings are unanswered prayers, I believe. We don't know what's in store for us many times, and it's not up to us. I told you the how is not up to you. Like, you want what you want, focus on what you're trying to get to, but understand the how is it will unfold at its own pace. The universe will deliver you in a yacht, or it will deliver you in a raft, or it will deliver you on a 2x4 floating in the river. I don't know, but you will get there. And however you get there, it may not be with the person you thought it was. It may not be with the friends you have right now. And the way that you heal, grow, and expand and experience life, it is going to unfold and unravel that way. And the one thing I can promise you is that amongst a world that is obsessed with speed, the one thing that you will have with you by the end of this or through this is you. That's the one thing you're sticking with. You came in with this body, you leaving with this body. That is what it is. That is part of the deal. And all these other things in the 3D, they may or may not have to go. And that's part of the experience. And the more that we cling to certain things, the more that we hold up our healing, the more that we hold up our growth, our expansion, and all these other things. So when we talk about this further along, the more we cling to being further along, the further we push ourselves back, the more mirrors we put into the place, so it like ends up spiraling forever. I know it's such a paradox because we want things now. However, you have to lock in with the reality. I don't want to say the reality because I remember, oh goodness, how did I just lose their name? I forgot this YouTube channel. Either way, the way that life's is at its own pace, and you will heal and grow at your own pace. It may not be at the pace of other things that you see outside of you, are advertised to you, or are attempted to program and indoctrinate you. Like, that may not be it for you. Accept that. Fully accept that you do have a pace of healing and a pace of growth. And once you lock in with that and understand it, we can sit here and we can wait for the bus and know that the bus is going to show up. And we're going to get to where we're going. But if we're sitting here and we're thinking, oh man, this isn't going to work out, I should walk to another bus stop, things are going to slow down. Things are going to get held up, I should say, not slow down. So that's what I have for you in this one. Again, please, like, give yourself that space and that time to heal, or however that process is looking for you. But when we are in a world obsessed with speed and acceleration and getting things now, your alignment will deliver you to the things that you are going towards quicker than you could ever accelerate towards them. And that is with a firm and healthy understanding that you will heal and grow at your own pace. All right, that's what I got for you. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Have a great day, and it's already moving at the pace it's moving at. You're gonna get there. We'll see you in the next one.